Future-Proof is sponsored by Learn Smart Academy, online revision courses for GCSE and A-Level. All your revision in one place, organised for you, interactive and game-changing.
Welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for joining me, Sarah Hopwood, here on Future Proof as I now conclude the programme where we're looking at negotiation skills and the importance of preparing and writing down your wants and agreeing and reflecting, and just going into the break we were talking about communication, and the big thing is the importance of listening. So when you, as part of your preparation before you get in the room, you need to work out what your BATNA is. And BATNA is an acronym for Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. And I can tell you a personal story. When I prepared a BATNA, I was called into a room where I was supposedly the underdog. And I had worked out, I'd scenario planned everything that was likely to be said to me. And it was somewhere I wanted to be, if you like. I wanted to be part of what was going on in this room. But I worked out at what point will I walk away? What is my BATNA, my best alternative to a negotiated agreement? So it's on a completely different subject. Some people get muddled and think a BATNA is in relation to the existing conversation. It isn't. It's like a completely different deal or a completely different option. And when I was in that meeting, I was doing all I could to stay where I was, and then they crossed a line where I had identified that was my BATNA, this is my walk away point. And so it threw them. They thought I would need to go and discuss stuff with some other people and don't make hasty decisions, and they hadn't realised that I had thoroughly prepared for that meeting. I knew what my BATNA was, I knew what my walk away was, and I swear if we had left that room and everybody had reconvened and come back again, I would never have walked away with the deal that I walked away with. So scenario planning a BATNA is very helpful to you, but also why wouldn't you work out what their BATNA is, the people that you're negotiating with? What do you think their BATNA might be? And that will really help you work out what your wants are, what your negotiations are, the things that you're happy to move on, and it can really help you end up getting what you want. Deadlock usually happens, and for inexperienced negotiators, that is when a lot of people will throw the towel in and think it's too hard, it's too difficult, or I'm beaten. And again, if you think back to the Brexit discussions, they definitely had deadlock, but you know, these were experienced negotiators. No one had any intention, whatever might have been said, in my understanding and how I was thinking, I didn't think for one moment anybody was going to walk away. They were posturing, there were other tactics being used, but those people around the table were very much, in my book, I thought they were very much still in that negotiation process, and deadlock was not going to move them away. So just make sure that it doesn't throw you, and make sure that you stay in there, still focusing on what it is that you want. As a team, you should possibly look at roles if you're not going on your own. You need a negotiator, you need a summariser, and you also need the coach or the leader. And the coach or the leader very often is the person who sat quietly, and they might be passing notes to the negotiator. And again, inexperienced people might think that they are literally just the note taker, and they're not that important, if you like. And they totally misread the room, because actually that's the kingpin in the room, and they've got somebody in there negotiating for them. So I talked about the importance of preparing, and if you don't prepare, then you are preparing to fail. So please be very careful about preparation. It's very important. Part of that is mind mapping. We have covered this before, so I'm not spending time on it now. Also magic wand, which I have used before. If you had a magic wand and you could have anything that you wanted easily, or either easily or not so easy, if you like, but what is it? What are the magic wands for the business that are just so important? Then you Pareto them, which is 80-20. So you go around ticking just the top 4. And if as a boardroom you decide, everybody does it independently, they don't hear what anybody else is saying. And then I always give them a marker pen. And as they go up and tick, they always cluster. So don't ever worry that every item on your magic wand list is going to get 1 tick. There will always be a cluster of some sort, and that will always show you where your priorities lie. So that's how you Pareto. You then have a decision matrix. I have talked about this before, where you write down your criteria. You also then weigh it, which is the most important thing to you. So here we got price of the car is 50%, which leaves you 50%. So you're marking the remaining 3 out of 50, which is why they then add up. You've got 2 20s and a 10. So the highest number is the thing that's most important to you. And then the choice of, for example, they're using cars here, the choice of car to purchase is then marked out of that weighing number. It's always out of that weighing number. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Again, I covered this in the last programme, so please do have a look at it. But strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats can come out if you offset them and answer these questions. How can I use the strengths to commercialise the opportunities? And you come out with some action plans. Then you answer the next question, how can I use the strengths to overcome the threats? And again, you come out with some action plans. So what you're doing is cross-referencing on that grid. And then you do the other side. And then the big thing here is what happens if you have a complete disaster where the weaknesses and the threats collide. And I've said in the past, in that box, it's amazing what can come out of there. So don't put your head down when you're working that out. Sometimes something very exciting can come out of it. Work out what it is that you want. And I said in the early part of the programme, make sure that when you're drawing up your list of wants, that you are double checking and just saying, what is it that we need? And make sure you answer that question. So whatever comes out of that, what do we need? Make sure that answer goes onto your want list. You also then you need to have a negotiation worksheet. So there you are, go into that boardroom with this worksheet. What is it that we want? You've then prioritised what you want. You go into your entry point and the exit point. At one point I said, how will you look, feel, smell, sound? Big thing, how will you sound when you walk out of that negotiation room and you've got a good deal? And it's really good to identify what that looks like if somebody was filming you. And also, and I think it goes without saying, we all know that you'll never get 100% of what you want. If you do, then arguably the negotiation process wasn't necessary. The whole point of negotiation is it's a bit like, a pulling of that sort of strong rope, and people giving and moving and going backwards and forwards. And you've got strong, tug of war? You've got strong people on either side, and it is that pulling. And at the end of the day, really, you want everybody to walk away happy, and everybody would have given something away, but they did it in order to get something. That's the other thing. Never give away. Always negotiate. Always, and the word is trade. Always trade. Don't give stuff away. There's a lot of psychology around the value of free, and people who have stuff free very often don't value it, and we know this. If you give away a free booklet to a free training sessions, you get hundreds of people book and ask for it, and not that many turn up for it. If you say it's at no cost, then that reflects value on what you're doing, i.e. this would have cost you, but you are getting at no cost. So it still puts a value on it, even though you're still giving it away free. I've talked about a force field, positives and negatives, very, very important here. And, what do those, you've got the headings, and then the action plans come out of the headings. And again, you can Pareto. And that's looking at those top action plans and what are you going to run with? Where are your priorities there? So agreement is very important, and these are some of the details around agreeing. And there's not much to say there. I'll just let you read through that. Agreement is just, everybody needs to be happy, as I say, and the litmus test is, can you sleep at night? That's very, very important. And the follow-ups, follow up on the people that you've negotiated with, but also follow up in your teams around whether it went well, what has been learnt, and and did it go well? And also look for people who negotiated well, who you can use in the future, your rising stars. One-page plan, I really advocate them. This is just an example of a plan come out of a negotiation process. Great thing about one-page plan, it's a working document, it doesn't sit in a drawer, and other people can have cascading one-page plans, either personal or departmental plans that sit under this, which then drive momentum, drive motion, and drive the all-important implementation. And you can even put the project team on this. I've covered teams, an 8-week cycle of project teams, and just drive the result from the negotiations so that you can then maximise your wins and get the best out of that deal that you worked so hard to get. Just make sure you get leverage from it. Don't relax and go, oh great, that was good. Get leverage from it. Good luck everybody, and I'll see you soon.